Hello. So today I would like to speak to you about the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. What is the difference between them? And when do you use one and when do you use another? Many people ask me this question: how long have you lived, or how long have you been living in Italy? So I can answer in two ways, and really here the meaning is not so different. I'm just giving a bit more information if I use the present perfect continuous. Let's look at them again. So if I say I have lived here for 14 years, what I mean here is that I came to live here 14 years ago and I'm still here now. When I use the present perfect simple, I'm more interested in the result, the quantity up to now. So here, as we can see, we've got 14 years. So that's the result or the quantity up to now. When I say this, the other person doesn't know if I intend to stay here or not. Maybe tomorrow I will go somewhere else. Instead, if I answer, I have been living here for 14 years, here I mean I came here 14 years ago, I'm still here now, and I also intend to continue living here in the future. Precisely because there are more verbs in this phrase, the focus is on the action that continues. So I'm actually giving a bit more information here. Basically, the message is the same. And many times it doesn't really matter, but it's just a way of adding some extra information here. I think timelines can be really useful for showing how to use a particular tense. We can say that this darker color here represents the present perfect simple because it's something that started in the past and continues until now. The present perfect continuous is then this extra part here. So I say here, I started doing something in the past, I'm still doing it now, and I will also continue to do that in the future. Okay, so let's illustrate the use of these two tenses and also look in more detail at when to use one and when to use the other with this exercise taken from English Zone. It's about ice skaters, and I think this exercise in particular shows very well when to use one tense or another. Here we have some phrases all about ice skaters. Basically what we have to do is we have to decide whether to use the present perfect simple or the present perfect continuous in either case. Sometimes both are possible because sometimes it doesn't really make so much difference, but sometimes it's important. So let's see why and when. Okay, so the first phrase here is Nancy Kerrigan is a professional ice skater. She, since she was a child. And here we can choose between she has skated and she has been skating. In this case, both tenses are possible because we might want to say that she started skating in the past and she's continued up to now, but we might want to leave it as like that. Maybe now she's going to do something else. Otherwise, if we want to say that she also intends to continue skating in the future, then we can use the continuous tense. So in this case, we can choose this option, both tenses possible. Okay, great. So let's look at the next sentence. This one says, Nancy many awards for her skating. In fact, she won an Olympic medal. Okay, right. So in this case, we are interested in the results because here we have many awards. So this is the focus of our attention. And But just because she has won awards in the past, that doesn't mean that she will win awards in the future. It doesn't follow necessarily. She may or she may not. So here it's better to use the simple version because we have the accent or the focus on the result up to now. So it's better to choose the simple version, has won. Okay, next phrase. Surya Bonali is an Olympic ice skater. She's from France, but she in Pennsylvania and Massachusetts in the United States. Okay, so in this case, it's better to use the simple form, has also lived, for the fact that we usually live in one place, then we stop living there and we move to another place. We don't continue living in several places at the same time. So in this case, we just use the present perfect, the simple form. Remember that the present perfect can also be used for something that happened in the past at an unspecified time. So this would be a good case for using the present perfect simple. Okay, right, number 4. Robin Cousins, a former ice skater and current commentator, said this about new skater Mikkelin Kierkegaard. She's one to watch for the future. She, everyone, with the quality of her skating. Well, here, what is important is this phrase here, because it says she is one to watch for the future. So she's done something in the past, and it is expected that she will continue to do that also in the future. So here it's better to say she has been surprising, because Robin wants to specify the fact that she will continue to do that in the future. Okay, great. Number 5. In addition to ice skating, Mikkelin Kierkegaard, high school. She gets very good marks, and she even won a prize for being the most serious student at her school for being able to handle school and skating at the same time. Okay, great. So, here the key phrase is she gets good marks. With this phrase, we understand that Mikkelin is still at school now. Remember that the present perfect, the simple, can be used to talk about something that happened in the past at an unspecified time. So just to make it clear that the school is not finished and she is still at school now, and so if she hasn't finished, she will continue also in the future, then we can choose this form to say that she has been attending high school. Okay, great. Number 6. Brian Boitano, a 1988 Olympic gold medalist, lately that upon retirement he will move to a farm in Napa Valley, grow grapes and ice skate only occasionally. Okay, so in this phrase, it's important to note that Brian Boitano is an Olympic gold medalist. Okay, so athletes are particularly famous ones, Olympic gold medalists, they often speak with the press. So here we can understand that it's not something that Brian has said just once, but it could be something that he has also repeated. The continuous tenses can also give the idea of something that happens not just once but repeatedly. We can think of the present continuous. When we use the present continuous, maybe with the adverb always, this can indicate something that happens repeatedly and so is annoying. So we can say, for example, she is always complaining, and that is annoying for us. So also with the present perfect continuous, we can get the idea of something repeated, not just once. Not necessarily in an annoying way, but something repeated. So I think here the best choice is B, has been saying. We can contrast this phrase with the next one, because here it's still about Brian, and it says, Brian about opening a restaurant after he retires from skating, but he hasn't mentioned those plans lately. So here the key phrase is this one, he hasn't mentioned those plans lately. So this might be something that he said once in the past at an unspecified time, but not recently. He hasn't repeated that recently. So here instead, in contrast to the previous exercise, we can use he has also talked. All right, great. Let's look at number 8. Scott Hamilton is another famous ice skater. He since he was 9 years old. Okay. This phrase 8 is in fact very similar to the first exercise here, number 1, the first phrase, because here we don't know, maybe now Scott is going to change and do something different, or he may continue also in the future, we don't know. So here both are possible. Okay, great. Number 9. Scott was treated for testicular cancer in 1997. He successfully beat the cancer and he cancer-free since that time. So here we can choose between has remained and has been remaining. You probably remember that with the present continuous there are certain verbs that we can't use in the continuous tense because they are verbs that express not really actions but more states, situations. This same thing works also for the present perfect continuous. So remain is not an action verb. There's no action to continue. It's just a state. So remain can't be used in the continuous form. And here we just use has remained. Okay, great. Now, the next one, the last one, is number 10. Scott's focus from skating in competitions to being the commentator at ice shows and sporting events. But he still performs in shows occasionally. And here we can choose between has changed or has been changing. Okay, so here we've got a change of focus from skating in competitions to being a commentator. Right, so first he skated in competitions and then he changed and he became a commentator. The change happened once. It's not something that is repeated, but it's just something that happened once in the past. He's not going to change. He does perform at shows occasionally, but now his focus is on being a commentator. So to indicate that the change happened just once in the past, then we use has changed. Okay, great. I think this exercise illustrates really well how to use the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. Okay, so just to recap, use the present perfect, the simple, to talk about an action that happened once in the past at an unspecified time, or to focus on the result or situation up to now only. Instead, the present perfect continuous is for actions that may have happened more than once, or to focus on an action that started in the past and will continue in the future. To practice, Use either the present perfect simple or the present perfect continuous to answer these questions in the comments. How long you study English? How many hours you spend in English classes in that time? How much money you spend on English lessons this month, this year, in your life? How much your level improved recently? How many new words you learned this week? How long you live where you live now? You think about moving? How long you plan to move? How many different places you live in your life?